Hello, nice to have you with us on the program Weekend Deal on the largest television network in Africa, the NTA. Now, let me take you a little bit memory lane. In 2014, we had an outbreak of Ebola through the visit of Patrick Sawyer on the 16th of August, or 6th of August precisely. Nigerians went into panic, but typically in our strides, in our spirit, we fought it to a standstill within some months. In 2018, we had another outbreak, Lassa fever. We fought it. Incidentally, recently, it is reoccurred. That is Lassa fever. Now, the big question is, why is it reoccurring? Does the man on the street, the regular Joe on the street, understand what Lassa fever truly is? Narratives, discussions are ensuing to ensure that we create awareness as to the prevention, and we do not know about any cure for now, but preventive measure is very important, which is why my sister Cecile and I have decided this morning to ensure that we make our own contribution of that narrative.
Yes, Lizzie, and it might interest you to know that Lassa actually started in a village called Lassa in Borno State in 1969, as far back. So really, the rats are back and they have great plans for us, and we should have even greater plans to tackle them. Now, on the program today, we will be joining our voices with the many others from the very many sectors, the health sector, the government, medical practitioners. We'll be joining our voice to talking Lassa fever.
Now, I was telling you something off camera.
Okay.
About the guy that came in to do a few things for me at home, and I was like, what do you do with your eba when you remain it? What do you do with your food?
Exactly.
And the guy absolutely knew nothing.
Well, in China and other parts of the world, coronavirus is ravaging everywhere. It may interest you to know that the year 2020 in China is the year of the rats. Yes, you know, the Chinese, they usually have the year of the dog, the year of the lion. This year is year of the rats. Well, the Chinese are celebrating the rats in China. Nigeria, we are chasing and killing the rats. All right, so anyhow, that was just on the lighter side, the Chinese Lunar New Year, but they couldn't celebrate the New Year because of the
outbreak.
And so there are many questions begging for answers. And just like the person you talked about, some people still don't understand the little details about Lassa fever. And that is what we'll be doing on the show today. And just to set the tone as a backgrounder and information for us to build upon, we will have this feature
by
Kachi Ogba on Lassa fever. In case you don't know about it, if you do know about it, this is a reminder. Just enjoy this feature and we'll be right back.
Lassa hemorrhagic fever, more commonly known simply as Lassa fever, is a type of viral infectious disease spread via direct contact with the urine, feces, saliva, or blood of infected rodents, ingesting food and drinks contaminated by infected rodents, contact with objects, household items, or surfaces contaminated by infected rodents. It also spreads via direct contact with bodily fluids of an infected person.
Lassa fever, as the name says, begins with a fever. You feel well, you may have something that looks like a cold, cough, catarrh, and sore throat, and then you may start having some bleeding from the nose or from the throat. But the most common things that people treat for malaria, which is endemic here, And after treatment for malaria, if there's no improvement or if there's more severe symptoms, you should look immediately for a hospital and see a doctor. Lassa fever is treated and is with a particular medicine called ribavirin, and luckily there is a medicine that works. And the success of the treatment will depend on how early the patient appears for treatment, and also that the supportive treatment that goes along with it might need blood transfusion. Some may even need diagnosis, others need only just IV fluids just to support them, depending on the severity that it comes with.
Lassa fever is a major public health challenge in West Africa, with Nigeria bearing the highest burden. The first identified case of Lassa fever was in 1969 in the town of Lassa, Borno State, and has now become relatively common in West Africa. 2018 recorded a major outbreak of Lassa fever in Nigeria, spreading to 18 states with 72 confirmed deaths, and 170 deaths in 2019 as a result of Lassa fever outbreak. For January 2020, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control has confirmed 258 cases of Lassa fever, with 41 deaths across 19 states. The fatality rate is down to 15.9% from 19.7% during the same period last year. In the midst of another outbreak, it is pertinent for members of the general public to review what is known about this disease and what can be done to curb its spread.
I got information on radio, televisions, and awareness they create in the hospitals and in paper.
The only little thing I know is just because of the prevalence now that we started hearing about it through the media. Like yesterday, I heard through the radio about how it has become, and I think it is becoming endemic now. That it is spreading very wide.
All I know is that Lassa fever is being caused by a rat, a particular rat. So when it enters your food like gari, and you take it like that, like soak it and drink it, it might cause it for you.
Things that could attract carriers of Lassa fever, you should make sure that you do away with them. Use more of rodent killers and ensure that you do not have such things in your house. If you can take care of the causes of something, I think that's the first step to anything.
The advice is that you rush to the nearest hospital. I think that's the remedy. Nearest any hospital government recognized for treatment, so that it not to spread.
Early diagnosis and treatment will increase the chances of survival. Do not assume you have malaria. Be vigilant and look out for Lassa fever symptoms in yourself or people in your household.
Lassa fever is not a death sentence. The case fatality rate, that is to say, the people who lose their lives if they contract Lassa fever just a few years ago was 30%. But due to early diagnosis, improved treatment, and improved protocol, it is now about 15%. That means that there's been an improvement in the number of people who will survive Lassa, and those who survive are almost certainly those who reported early enough and who were in a good nutritional state and who reported at the right place. But treatment must start as early as possible.
The Nigerian Center for Disease Control has activated national emergency operations to coordinate response to the increasing number of cases across the country. Through sensitization, the NCDC and the Federal Ministry of Health are working hard to prevent this current outbreak from spiraling into a deadly pandemic. And this sensitization will be our focus today on Weekend Deal.
You heard it straight from Kachi, and of course the resource persons, the Minister for Health was there and had to educate us a whole lot. More of that will be coming your way. But do you know that one of the easiest ways of ensuring that we eradicate Lassa fever is by being careful with your hygiene? And the first thing to do is think about your refuse disposal system. In Lagos, it is something else, and we're going to join them in Lagos and find out what is the situation of the refuse disposal system there.
We live in a society which produces more waste than any other till date. Globally, Waste volumes increase every day, even faster than the rate of urbanization. Waste that are not properly disposed or managed becomes hazardous waste and poses a serious threat to human health and the environment. They produce harmful gases that mix with the air and can cause breathing problems and other diseases in humans. These waste, when not properly disposed, attract rodents, especially rats. These rats are omnivorous, which means they eat anything and everything from waste and are quick to find their ways into homes and feast on foods that are not properly covered or stored. These rodents are carriers of diseases. Their urine, droppings, and saliva cause contagious diseases. One of the contagious diseases is Lassa disease, commonly known as Lassa fever, which is currently an issue that is gradually spreading to various parts of the country with reported cases of fatalities. In crowded environments like markets where waste are generated every second, one wonders how waste are being managed to prevent rodents that are carriers of Lassa fever disease from affecting that area. This is Tejo Market, an ultra-modern market located along the Ojuelegba Road in Yaba, Lagos, Nigeria. It is a central shopping hub of Lagos for both buyers and sellers. How is waste disposal in such an area affected?
We sell our market, like most of the stems, when we cut them off, we have some people that rear goats, some people that rear, that do for all these agricultural, they come and pack some of the stems that want to dispose and take it to their farm, sort it out and give it to their cattle and everything. So the one that is left that's maybe due to the cutting enough, the ones that are remaining, we try as much as possible to individually pack it. We have a general collection area over that side. We pack it, sweep our environment, and dispose it.
Tábà ti ṣe tán sìn bí a ti lọlé àwọn tó máa bá wa gbà ti wà wọ́n máa bá wa páàkì. Tábà rí kó ó ti pọ̀ jù gan lẹ̀. Tábà ti ṣe tán sìn gan a lè sáré gbá yẹn kúrò ńbẹ̀. A máa tún ṣe mí sílẹ̀ ìyẹn làwọn yẹn máa wá rí gbá tó máa fi.
Lassa fever disease can be curbed if wastes that attracts rodents are properly managed.
Every morning, àwọn tó jẹ́ cleaner ọkọ̀ mẹ́jọ jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ tiẹ̀ tó máa ń clean àwọn sweeper ọkọ̀ mẹ́ àwọn náà máa assist wa náà.
The only solution is by providing waste products, like providing this stuff, this tank, yes, management waste to each junction. Is by packing this waste regularly, by providing basic amenities constantly, especially in this Teju Osho, in this Yaba market. As in, we need so much social amenities that can prevent all this dirty and waste. You understand? So that we don't get infected.
As a responsible citizen of this society, each one of us has the responsibility of contributing to the management of waste and promote a naturally healthy environment.
All right, waste disposal in Lagos, trying to educate us and bringing us up to date with how waste disposal issues are handled in Lagos. And this is really important. I was reading an article yesterday and somewhere around the Karonyanya, those area, there's a terrible waste disposal problem, especially around the cemetery area. So, and it brings this worry to mind. Your dogs, they go up to this refuse, they
Then you
Pick
go
up
up to the
stuff.
dogs and you cuddle your dog. The rats, they do all that there. Then they go to your home and feed on your food. There are schools around there. Children are there.
You know, you're even going far, going outside the house. I have seen houses, estates in Abuja here. I come in, they have estate managers. Their dustbins get so filled up and they are waiting for a given day to evacuate, maybe on a Monday, on a Tuesday. What's wrong if your dustbin gets filled up? You can't cover it, maybe because you had to do something. Move it out.
Yes.
Because once you leave it open, rats come. Other things, mosquitoes, all of them come, and they always give us side effects, very bad ones.
Yeah, I think we should really take that very seriously. So, ETV Lagos, thank you very much. And we should also find ways of adverting. It's there already, truth be told, but we have to find a way of curbing it. So, let's go on to Abeokuta, Ogun State, and let's see how the people there are trying to avert the spread of this Lassa virus. NTA Abeokuta packaged this very beautiful piece.
Lassa fever, according to the World Health Organization, is an acute viral hemorrhage illness of 2 to 21 days duration that occurs in West Africa. Lassa fever is the Lassa virus transmitted to humans via contact with food or household items contaminated with rodent urine or feces. Lassa fever is known to be endemic in some parts of the countries in West Africa. The onset of the disease is very gradual, starting with fever, general weakness, and after a few days, headache, sore throat, chest pain, cough, diarrhea, and a whole lot of other symptoms. In Ogun State, a lot of preventive measures have been put in place by the Ogun State government to combat the growing viral disease. The Commissioner of Health in Ogun State, Dr. Mrs. Tomi Koka, gave her submission on Lassa fever and some of the preventive measures being put in place.
In Ogun State, we have a continuous surveillance system, even when there's no outbreak. What we're doing at the moment is survey all the border communities along the international borders and state borders to ensure that there is no crossover from the other states. Also, we sensitize our communities and advising them on hygienic ways to and also to look out for symptoms such as fever, vomiting, unresponding fever, body aches, gastrointestinal symptoms like vomiting and diarrhea, and a sore throat. And we sensitize health workers in those communities. Also, we have an isolating unit center at Osuth, which is, we've trained all the staff. They have continuous training and annual training to be in a position to respond to any outbreak. We have a rapid response team that actually go out when there's any reported case. Previously, the citizens, if there's anyone with unresponding fever, sore throat, body aches, and diarrhea, vomiting, they need to report to the nearest hospital, and we have an isolating center which is at OOUTH, and the staff there have been trained to respond to this. We also have PPE, which is personal protection equipment.
One of the ways of not allowing the spread of Lassa fever is to strictly maintain proper hygiene. Members of the public should avoid close contact with the rodent and also cover food and food items properly and make sure food is warmed before eating them.
It's been found and established also that some of these papers, people used to sell things for us, moi moi, akara, and what have you. If it has been found that some of them, they are already infected. So it is high time people stop for now. And I think the Minister for Agric said even if it is possible for now, people should stop eating rat at all. If it is possible, people should stop eating rat. Prevention is better than treatment.
Hospitals and health centers and all health institutions should have isolation centers, and workers should be retrained in that regard. As soon as you suspect any case of Lassa fever, please go to any health institution around you and you would be referred to the appropriate quarters. Health, they say, is wealth.
Hygiene, hygiene, hygiene. When you back in the days, whenever we come home, the first thing they do is tell you to go and wash your hands. And in washing hand, they tell you to wash up to your elbow. You know, but these days it's gone. Somebody comes in and goes straight to the fridge, bam, picks an apple and starts eating.
And just start eating.
I don't know, civilization. Do you think we should go back to the Stone Age?
We should not go back to the Stone Age, but we should borrow some good habits of the past and try to bring them back into the present. It's going to help a whole lot.
All right, so while we are thinking about going back or not going back, borrowing or not borrowing, let's hit Benin, Edo State precisely, go find out what they are doing to avert the attack of Lassa fever. Let me also start by greeting my friends, my family members there. Obatokbe.
It is often said that cleanliness is next to godliness. And this probably explains why people who live in dirty environment and surroundings are prone to illness and outbreak of diseases such as the deadly Lassa fever.
Lassa fever is a viral hemorrhagic fever that is caused by a Lassa virus, which is the fever itself is characterized by sustained fever at over about 38 degrees Celsius for a long time, accompanied by headache usually. It's right now endemic in the country and is carried by a rodent, which we normally call Mastomys natalensis. It's a special breed or species of rodents or rats.
The spread of Lassa fever in Nigeria is like a wildfire.
The record before us is that in Edo State as a whole, 70 suspected cases have been recorded. And out of the 70, they have also recorded 8 deaths out of 70. Then back to my own local government, Isako West, I think 12 of those cases are from Isako West. And so far, we've recorded 4 deaths.
The year that just ended, we had about 4,900 cases with so much deaths. In the last 50 years, Lassa fever alone has claimed not less than 2.87 million people in this country.
In Edo State, one of the states affected, measures are being put in place to stop the spread of the disease.
Since this outbreak, awareness creation is everywhere. The 18 LGAs, we are creating awareness. The state government, through the Ministry of Health, has donated 700 personal protective equipment to the institute.
CDC has put out a lot of articles, and they're doing a lot of public campaigns. And since we know it's transmitted to humans by rats, then we have to do a lot to prevent rat to human contact. And first of all, sanitation and hygiene matters a lot. Make sure that waste disposal dustbins are not made close to the houses. The face masks, the hand gloves, then the hand washing materials, then the thermometers to be given to our health facilities and some communities.
There is no gainsaying the fact that inappropriate and indiscriminate dumping of refuse is one of the major causes of the spread of Lassa fever. Edo State and the local governments are affected, like Esakwa West local government area, where deaths have been recorded due to Lassa fever, have been put in place strategic measures to enjoy a clean environment.
An integrated waste management system such that the government provides the enabling environment, and we have private hands who with license to go from house to house to lift the waste and then take them to the dump site. We also have our own individual efforts that we are doing. For example, the ministry there's already a responsible officer who has traveled, who tries to go from local government to local government on the side of environmental cleanliness. Also try to locate places where we have long-standing black spots or heaps of refuse, which we are, working on evacuating. We have already started evacuating a couple of them, and we are going to keep working on evacuating those heaps.
Carried out sensitization in some health facilities, that is health institutions.
It is hoped that with all the measures put in place by both the state and local governments, Lassa fever will soon be a thing of the past.
Okay, that was NTA Benin telling us how the measures the Edo State government has been putting in place to tackle Lassa fever.
And when you mentioned Benin, I was happy because my costume today is courtesy of the Zonal Director, NTA Benin, Madam Paul. Thank you so much, Ibanu, for this lovely costume. And it's not the first time she's done it. Every now and then she keeps sending us clothes to look good.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Yeah, it's good to know that some people out there think they should contribute a little something to add into the program. All right, so Edo State is one of the states actually affected by the Lassa fever virus, and good to know that so many measures are in place to see that this is managed, this is curtailed. Good job there, the Edo State government. And now let's go to somewhere close to the federal capital here, Benue State. In Benue State, there is an argument right now behind the studio. The director, producer, and everybody are arguing the Benue eat rats. They don't eat rats. No, don't talk about it. The rat we eat is different from the rats that is causing the Lassa fever. While they are having that argument behind whether the Benue rat causes the Lassa fever or not, let's go to NTA Makurdi and let's see what hygiene is like in Makurdi to avert the spread of this Lassa fever virus, and then after that we'll decide if we should eat the Benue bush rats or not.
Lassa fever is an acute hemorrhagic illness caused by the Lassa virus. It is an animal-borne or zoonotic acute viral illness and is endemic in parts of East and West Africa where rodents live. Humans usually become infected with the virus through exposure to food or household items contaminated with aerosols of rodent excretions or preparing and eating multi-mammal rats, wild or domesticated animals.
Lassa fever is when you have fever that is not remitting after treatment for malaria and with also antibiotics, then you will begin to become very highly suspicious of such a person.
It transmits from the rodents to humans, especially when we have a poor hygiene. And incidentally, the animals don't come down with the disease, but they can transmit it. And once it gets to humans, it can also transmit from human to human.
This has become a yearly occurrence, and the sudden outbreak in 2020, as reported by the agency to be newly confirmed cases, increased in week 4 from 81 cases in week 3 to 95 cases, affecting people mostly within 11 to 40 years, with 41 deaths, among which health workers have also been affected. Hence, medical personnel are also not resting.
At the beginning of this week, Benue has been included in the states that have cases of Lassa. And when everybody is aware, we take appropriate steps to curtail the spread. And if we do that, we also help in curtailing the spread in Benue State. By the time you finish your work in the hospital, the last thing to do is to wash your hand in the hospital. And when you get home, the first thing to do is to wash your hand. You understand? And then you take, another thing about universal precaution is that any person you are handling, take it as if the person has a contagious disease so that you protect yourself and also thereby preventing chances of spread from that person to you and then maybe from you to another person.
In Benue State, where the bush rat is a delicacy, the people hunt and consume with relish. One case has been confirmed, while there is also a suspected outbreak in Oju local government area.
We've been able to confirm just one case that is still on treatment in the teaching hospital. There were some other suspected cases and we are investigating. As soon as the results are out, we will let the public know.
We went round the streets and markets of Makurdi to find out if the people are still having contact with these species of rats they eat, and this is what we found out.
Of course I eat, not just rats, all the bushmeat I eat.
So are you not scared of this outbreak in Lassa fever?
No. As a thief lady, I know that we don't just do sharp cooking. Whenever a thief man is preparing any meal, it is well boiled. So I believe that it can never harm a thief person.
I used to eat yongo before the appearance of this Lassa fever inferno, and since then I've placed a ban on eating it too. Not just yongo alone, no. Anything that has to do with bushmeat now.
That notwithstanding, the Benue State government, in a swift response, activated an emergency response unit to help fight this scourge.
We have all the drugs necessary and all the equipment that they need to ensure that adequate care is given. We want to ensure that everybody, no matter where you are, you have access to the information.
As the global public health entities and the World Health Organization struggles to find vaccines for this illness, residents are advised to take preventive measures as the best form of defense by eliminating rodent habitats, improving sanitation, keeping food properly closed, and accessing clean water. The public must also be taught hand-washing hygiene and use of alcohol-based sanitizers, amongst others. And above all, visit the nearest health centers when there are signs of very stubborn fever.
We're still talking Lassa fever, and our lines are open. You can always send in your question. We have a health officer who will be joining us later as we go on the show to answer some of the questions. But I know that someone from Umukabia in Abia State, that's our regular Chika Norum. Thank you for being so consistent with us. She says the so-called Lassa fever is serious disease. The 3 tiers of government should do the needful to stop the spread of this deadly disease. Thank you so much. And in line with what you're saying, we have been moving around state to state to find out what, not just the government, the people, because this time it's not just a government thing. You have to fight your own fight. Like I always tell people, your life is in your hand, not just your health. So let's go to Oka and find out what they are doing to avert that.
Lassa fever is an acute viral hemorrhagic illness caused by Lassa virus. In other words, it is an animal-borne acute viral illness transmitted by multimate rats. It is caused by exposure to food or household items contaminated with urine or feces of infected mastomys rats, or contact with objects, household items and surfaces, or intake of food contaminated with urine, saliva, or blood of infected rats. Its symptoms include fever, headaches, bleeding, and more. It can be prevented by avoiding contacts with mastomys, rodents, especially in the geographic regions where outbreaks occur, keeping home or environments clean to stop rodents from entering the houses.
In the healthcare population, we've talked about observing universal precaution in taking care of patients. In the populace, in the communities, observing hygienic way of taking care of the food that we eat. One of the things we mentioned to people is that do not dry your grains by the roadside. Do not expose the food you eat to the possibility of they are getting exposed to the excrements of the Mastomys natalensis, the rats.
Good personal and environmental hygiene will play a very important role in reduction, not necessarily elimination, because that virus is easily transmittable. But when people practice proper hand washing, overcrowding, both at home, school, in public places.
Meanwhile, with the spread of the virus in the neighboring state, Anambra State is on high alert. As the State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Vincent Obala, states that suspected cases in the state have been isolated and tested, and that there is no evidence of the virus in the state.
As of this morning, there are no confirmed cases of Lassa fever in Anambra State. We're talking to people, there are radio jingles going out, talking to the citizens of things to watch out for, okay, and safe practices. Remember, this virus is spread by a vector, the Mastomys natalensis. That's the name of the rat, the rodent.
However, the Anambra State Commissioner for Health said that government had already established a surveillance center while health care provided in the state are on red alert.
We trained disease surveillance and notification officers, very strong state epidemiologists. I usually start my day often by going to the Emergency Operations Center to see what is going on there, see if there are cases that we picked over the past 24 hours. Our surveillance has been very active. In the past few weeks, we've had a lot of cases from citizens and physicians who are concerned that they might have patients that have come down with the acute viral hemorrhagic fever, the Lassa fever. And we've done tracing. For some of them, we've collected specimen and sent to for diagnosis and confirmation. And so far, we've not had any case.
People are advised to avoid eating pre-exposed food, protect themselves, and inculcate good hygiene habits.
Okay, thank you very much, NTA Oka, averting the Lassa virus in the states. Good to know that states all across the country are doing so much to avert the spread of this. Each one tell one. The program is Weekend Deal. Each one tell one. Lassa fever is being discussed.
We told you that we'll have our guest join us, and he's seated right here. He is the Director, Environmental Office Registration Council, and he is known by his name, of course. It is Dr. Andy Oka. Nice to have you join us.
Thank you.
All right, so in my tradition, we always offer something when somebody comes to see us. Cecil, let's do the needful.
Okay, we need to have you wash your hands.
So we just be careful.
So we are saying welcome, and as a way of educating on how to properly wash our
I'll
hands.
probably give you soap as well.
Okay, I'll be running the commentary now. Please have
And,
the soap.
so-
Okay, explain to us what you're doing, sir.
Yeah, actually, I'm washing my hand. Anytime I visit toilet or I come back from work or anything, I'm supposed to wash my hand before handling any food or before eating. So
Okay.
that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Now, washing hand, you need to clean up the in between the fingers.
Okay.
You wash it very well, and somebody need to apply the water to you, and
Yes.
you wash up to your elbow.
Okay.
And this one now is improvised. You're supposed to give me, and where there's no person, we are trying to get a
Don't worry,
local
I have my
device.
water to apply.
Okay, so. Okay,
And I actually
this is
gave you
hot
a warm water,
That's very
yes,
good and
which
it's
will
very
help
perfect.
you.
Yes.
Okay.
So it
So
just
clean.
thank you very much.
And after that, we offer you a
don't,
towel.
I may not use that because it's not hygienic. I must use the one that only myself can use
Okay.
and dispose.
Okay, so
Other
this,
user-
you're not sure if somebody else has used
yes,
this?
it's
Okay, that's
so
beautiful.
that I can allow it to
Dry out on its own. All right. We let every day.
Yes,
Thank
or
you
we get
very
a wipe,
much.
right?
Okay, or disposable paper napkins.
napkins.
Okay, that's the best one to use. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, we have all been panicking, and a whole lot has been going on about the Lassa fever. I would like to start with the story I told as we began, and that's about someone I tried to educate in my little knowledge of what Lassa fever is. Incidentally, he didn't even know. I tried to talk, and this is a Nigerian. You know, this is a Nigerian, a family person. Didn't know what Lassa fever is. Can you tell us a little bit before we?
Actually, Lassa fever is a kind of recurring disease now in Nigeria. We started in 1969 in a village called Lassa in Borno State. And at that time, it took the life of 2 nurses, and it was diagnosed as a viral disease. Since then, it has been occurring. So if you look at that chart there, you discover that since 1969, it has been going gradually, affecting little states, few states. But from that 1969 to 2011, that charts show that only 3.5 states are being affected each year. But now from 2012, when 26 states were affected, 2013, 29 states going up down. Even last year, 24 states were affected. And you discover that from that 2012 to 2019, the average now is 20.1 state every year. That means the magnitude is going higher every year. So that's why we need to do something. Now, the Lassa fever is carried, the virus is being carried by rat called Mastomys natalensis. And we want people to call and tell us the name of that rat in our vernacular language, so that people can know it. Even now, people don't know it. But in our side, we call it bush rat. It's not living with us. It is always in the bush because their nest and other food are being available in the bush. And why are they coming in the dry season? Because this disease is the disease of dry season from October, November till April.
Oh, they all come
Then,
back.
as the rat now will be looking, trying to survive, and in the attempt to survive, they are migrating to our houses where they can get shelter and food. That's always, those are the things, the factors that bring him at this thing. That's why every dry season, you see it reoccurring. Again, why is it from 2012 now? The magnitude is very high. It's because of climate change and global warming. So the bush is no longer conducive. Then they are migrating. Then when they come, they actually try to survive by scavenging for the food or other things. And that is why we are talking about, like, documentaries have just finished everything we're supposed to say. But we need to emphasize on other few factors that people may not know. Like you said about drinking garri, it's making news now in the town. In fact, I was listening to one radio. Somebody said that those that say that they should not drink garri, they don't have sense. Do you understand? But now it's not only garri, but we know that during this dry season, garri is a favorable food. And because garri is ready to eat food, what I mean is that you cannot process it again or heat it again. Therefore, it is a good medium for somebody to contact it. There are other ones, fish, any other ready to eat fruit. Once it has been interacted with the rat that is carrying the Lassa fever virus, it must be contaminated. Not only garri, but when we are talking about garri, it's because it's common.
There's something you said, and I want to actually call out to people there, that the rats, you said is called bush rat. Now that you want people to write in and tell us the names of the rats in their village. So we're calling out to everybody who is with us at the moment. We need you to write in. Our number is always on the screen, and I wish the director can prop up the number again. Write to us and tell us the name of this rat in your village, because that will actually help to educate people who do not know.
Wait, now is a species of rats.
Yes.
And okay, I don't know which rat it is, but how can I, looking at the rat, what features do I see in the rat to know that this is a rat I should be careful of?
Yeah, it's always a bush rat. It's
the Benue bush rat, the delicacy.
Anywhere. That's why every state is having it now. It's not only in Benue. That bush rat is brown. And if you check, if you can get closer, like one of the clip I have there, you see that it's called multi-mammet rat because of the number of breasts. So many.
Yes, breasts.
So many, yes, many. One can have up to 20 or more on this side and this side.
Okay, so what is it called in your own dialect?
Actually, we call it Okohia. That's bush rat. That's a direct translation. But I want people that know it to still call. Like I asked somebody in Yoruba language, he say emo, E-M-O. Because people have been mistaking it to what they call slew rat. That one with long mouth. If you go to ask them in vernacular, they will produce that one.
Like what is slew rat in Igbo?
It's Nkapu.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But in Yoruba now they call it a kun asi, something like that. So, but that is not the name.
Is it the rat you're talking about?
Yes, because this is the one I'm talking about. Look at it there. Because there are another character is that they always cluster together, they cram together. That's why you see them nowadays. A liter of it, what I mean by liter, is the number of children the rat can give at a time. That we call it a liter. A liter can be 20-25.
Wow.
And that rat can produce up to 4 times a year. Now, if the rat can live like 6 years, you multiply that 25 or 20 times 4 times a year times that number of the year. So they are very prolific.
Let's go back to Lassa fever, not just the rats now. I'd like to know, because a lot of people, when we started our discussion before the program went on air, somebody said, I have cold. And I'm scared of admitting it because I don't want somebody to say I have Lassa fever. People are scared of telling you they are ill now because they are not sure whether it is this or that. How do I tell my symptoms is just catarrh and not Lassa fever?
You will not be able to do that except you consult a health personnel. Now, the only thing is once you sense any sign or symptom like that of malaria, then you need to consult a medical personnel, especially the doctors, because any viral disease has a higher temperature, like 38 to 40. So by merely checking your temperature, they will be able to know that's a suspect. Now you start going for that thing, because when you are looking at the signs and symptoms, sometimes it resembles that of malaria, sometimes it resembles that of typhoid.
Typhoid, yes. So
then sometimes if you want to do a tentative treatment, you know, like malaria, now when you treat malaria for 3 or 4 days, it doesn't go, you suspect typhoid. But in this case now, Lassa fever should be suspected because their signs and symptoms are similar.
Wow.
Okay, I don't know if I'm wrong, but I understand it's deadly, but not as deadly as the Ebola virus we had some time back.
The fatality of Ebola is higher than this. This now has become endemic in Nigeria, and with proper early diagnosis and early reporting to the hospital, they can manage it very well. Then the fatality is not so much.
It's been wonderful having you with us, and more people are calling in. We'll get to write all these names or call out these names as time goes. But for now, let's relax a little bit. It's bad, but then when it's that bad, we try to relax, unwind a little bit with trending videos. That's it.
Good afternoon. Yeah, so, you know, the reason why I can't look at your face right now is because I actually love you. I'm sorry if I'm saying this in a very ridiculous way, but I actually do love you. Sometimes, whenever I see you, I have these goosebumps all over my body. Why did you tell me all this? Why? I actually love you too. I literally miss my steps when I see you. So the feeling is mutual, yeah? Of course. Sometimes, like, you see me, I'll just bow my head down. It's not because I have respect, it's because I cannot look at your face. Now you know. Why did you tell me? Okay, you know what? I'm going to look at your face right now, okay? Please do. Alright, so this
All right, thank you very much. We've been talking Lassa fever here on the Weekend Deal. And I would just decide to take a break and just cool off a little. Of course, the country is not on fire, but of course, we should really be very, very careful. And the guest that just left educated us a little more on how to stay safe and gave us a little background and history of the Lassa fever. And he asked you all to send the names of this rat in your local dialect.
More of the names are coming in.
Oh, more of the names are coming in?
More of the names.
Okay,
Someone says here it's called Ogba in Igala, and another person says it's called Uno in Ibira. I hope people are listening. In case you're wondering, what is that rat? You should be able to tell in your place. Okay, still Ogba in Igala.
I hope they're actually giving us the name of that rat, not just any rat.
That's what they say it is called. And we intend to actually compile these names and get to publish them. So those who do not know these rats, especially those of them who no longer teach in their native language in schools, like some children that I know, they don't know. So we should be able to educate them with this. The name of a rat is called Mumuyi language. Okay.
In where?
The name of the rat in Mumuyi language is called Konja. That's in Taraba State.
Okay, all right. So please just keep sending them in. Also, tell us some of the preventive ways you are trying to stay safe and away from the Lassa fever. We told you, and like our guest actually confirmed, the Lassa fever started sometime in 1969 in a place called Lassa in Borno State. So we'll now take a trip to Borno State where this actually started, and let's see their waste disposal system and how they are actually managing to stay clean and safe.
In every aspect of life, purity and cleanliness exalt the human condition. However, the objective of keeping the environment tidy is not just to clean, but to feel happy and have a healthy living within that environment.
We are well prepared before even the issue of the Lassa fever. And the Borno State government has introduced the monthly sanitation, which was flagged up on November. So therefore, the issue of the Lassa fever, before even the arising of the Lassa fever, the outcry in the nation. So Borno State has, the governor has given us the marching order, which was commenced with the sanitation exercise, monthly sanitation exercise, at the same time which it directed us to clear almost all the refuse dumps that we're having. On the process of clearing, we have 28 refuse points within the Maiduguri metropolitan Nigeria, and which we are, after clearing it, we end up having almost about 43 refuse points now. After we have cleared now, we are now planning to go out for general spraying at the particular refuse points within and then the perimeter fence areas.
However, waste disposal is one of the major environmental problems that we are faced with today. Despite several attempts by government and private sectors, it is a common sight in some parts of the country to see heaps of waste dumped at residential apartments, waterways, highways, street undeveloped plots, among others.
We were able to establish the Lassa Fever Isolation Center at the Brigadier Bakari Memorial Hospital in Bolori 2. The hospital has been well fitted, and we have mobilized the trained staff, both from the states and with support from the teaching hospital, to the center. And we've made the place operational now. They are operating 24/7. We have had about 5 suspected cases thereabouts. One was confirmed from the suspicion, and unfortunately we lost that. We also had another victim who presented with highly suspicious symptoms, but unfortunately we lost her also. But we are glad to report that the results of her own laboratory analysis turned out to be negative. In the same vein, results from 2 other individuals that were highly suspicious that was collected also turned out to be negative. Amongst these was an 8-year-old child who was moved in from the Bakassi camp, from the Goza aspect of Bakassi camp, and having evaluated and everything, his result turned out to be negative. But not only did it turn out to be negative, we have instituted basic care and management for that patient, and I'm glad to report today that he is quite stable. Clear the bushes around your house, because that is the critical thing. do not keep food waste or other food items that will attract rodents around you, and then to make use of rodenticides so that rodents around you are also exterminated. That's the only way to reduce the scourge of this disease, and that's our our major hinge on the hygiene, and of course hand washing as an attitude needs to be promoted.
Therefore, clean environment is fundamental to good health, social and economic development. This is because there won't be healthy and happy society if we destroy the environment.
Okay. All right, Lizzie, the program is almost ending, and we have so many messages here. And let's see, from Taraba local government, Wukari local government in Taraba, they call it Kunufi. And I saw one from Urobo. The name is called Shandam. He didn't tell us where he's from. Then we also have Joseph. He calls Joseph from somewhere in Benue State. So they call it Mpa. I don't know. There are just so many. I want to thank you.
Somebody says here that in Akwa Ibom State they call it Akono.
You know what? I just want to thank you all for sending in these messages, and there are so many. Don't worry, we appreciate. Please keep your message coming anytime we're on the program.
We'll reply them behind the camera. We'll reply you one-on-one.
All right, I will reply you one-on-one. Thank you very much. My name is Cecil. Thank you very much for being with us and completing
Please,
this
your hand sanitizer. Don't forget.
Yes.
I'm moving into the society.
Your hand sanitizer.
So I'm gonna do this. You can roll your tape. Yes.